right. Go ahead and get started as we do after a win. We've got our players of the game offensively. A young man that I'm going to take a little extra time to talk about, redshirt junior wide receiver Aaron Johnson. Been in our program 4 years, extremely proud of the work he's put in, and a great example of a guy that's improved on a yearly basis. Was a high school quarterback. Again, redshirted as a true freshman. Actually played as a true freshman, played at safety and played on some special teams, moved to the offensive side of the football, and kind of waiting his turn, was backing up Larry McDuffie early in the season. Larry had the head injury, and Aaron comes in, catches 3 passes for 40 yards, a great fade down their sideline, and then 2 critical slant routes on 3rd downs. So proud of him, and as a young man that's continuing to improve every week, is playing certainly more than he ever has. Our defensive player of the game, defensive back Thomas Bates. Just a little bit about Thomas. Again, earned his degree in 4 years, graduated last May, and played his best game of the season by far. Had 70 snaps, had 7 tackles, 5 solo tackles, and 5 pass breakups. So, really proud of, again, his performance in the season that Thomas is having. Then on special teams, kick returner DeMarcus Ayers. Again, we made the move with him to the X-receiver position. When Larry went down, he rotated with Aaron Johnson, had a catch for 30 yards from Greg Ward, had 4 kickoff returns, 424 yards in the game, 31 yards per return, along of 45 yards. So he's a young man's getting better and better every week. Scout team players of the week on offense, offensive lineman Josh Thomas. On defense, our scout team player of the week was defensive lineman Josh McNeil, and then special teams freshman receiver Jack Thomas. So again, looking back at the game and the short week, again, proud of our student athletes, proud of our staff, proud of our coaches. Last week at this point is a little bit of a blur because it happened certainly so quickly. And, again, another great team win. Winning football games is not easy. I said this after the game in my comments in the press conference, and we knew that game would be just like it was. We knew it would be a 60-minute game. They have talent. They have an outstanding coaching staff, talking about South Florida. And, I thought their freshman quarterback, Mike White, played extremely well. I thought our 2 freshman quarterbacks played well additionally. So good to get the win. And, we set our sights now on the game this week in Orlando against Central Florida. So with the questions last week in terms of what challenges do you face with a short week, and it was certainly something we were looking forward to with the exposure that the Thursday night nationally televised game would give our program. I think there are some advantages going into this next game in terms of having a few extra days, not necessarily to game plan, although that is an advantage, is the extra time, but to get your guys a little bit of a break and have kind of regroup as you go into this longer week, if there's such a term as that. I know Central Florida's coming off a bye. They've got homecoming, I believe, Saturday night. And the thing about their program, and I'll mention certainly George O'Leary, the head football coach there, has done an outstanding job. And, we are familiar with them just having been in Conference USA for the last 5 years that I've been a member of our program. So very, very, very talented across the board on offense, defense, and special teams. And, nationally, and I was asked this yesterday, when you talk about a Coach O'Leary football team, football program, what comes to mind? And nationally, when you talk about his teams, wherever he's been, it's that they are a well-coached team. And that's really been a trademark of him as long as he's been coaching. They make you earn everything. They don't make mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. They don't commit penalties. And, fundamentally, technically, they tackle extremely well on defense. They have certainly a clear identity offensively in terms of taking care of the football, being very physical up front, establishing the run. So, again, it'll be a great challenge for us, and I think an opportunity that our student-athlete staff and coaches are looking forward to. Any questions?
How nice is it, you going into every season, you know what kind of team you think you're going to have, but in the new team, seeing the team performing so far, how pleasing has that really been, the way they've really competed out there?
I have been pleased with how our young men have performed to this point, and I think it's a combination of a couple of things. When you go back to last spring, again, we had 4 new assistant coaches join our program, and was very pleased with how everything went during the course of spring practice. However, looking ahead, still felt like we were going to have almost close to 50 newcomers join our program that weren't here yet, and not necessarily sure which would be able to contribute this season, figuring based on the 5 years I had been here that somewhere from 7 to 10 would play for us. So you don't ever go into a season thinking you may lose your starting quarterback in the first half of the second game, and if knowing that, be sitting with our overall record at this point, playing 2 true freshmen at that position. But the kids have gotten better every week. I think our staff's done a great job, making sure they understand what they are doing, certainly in all 3 phases, but even when breaking it down further by position. And again, we're taking it one week, one game at a time. So, I am pleased with how they've responded. I still think we've got some youth in our team, and I think that's where it's fun as coaches to see these young men improve on a weekly and daily basis.
But you're far along in the season enough that do you think your team is kind of cruising like a well-oiled machine, or is there still lots of room for improvement?
No, I think there's room for improvement. And I think part of that is for us right now, going back to when you look at our leading passer being a freshman, our leading receiver being a true sophomore, our leading rusher being a sophomore. I think there's still, you look on the defensive side of the ball, Trayvon Stewart, Adrian McDonald is true sophomores, really, and both in high school did not play the safety position. So, there's still some teaching and learning, and I think your question is a good one in terms of it's almost the middle of November. They ought to know what they know by now. Well, there's still, I go back to the game last Thursday night, and we got a chance to take a knee and end the game, and we got guys with the football running out of bounds and stopping the clock with 1.5 minutes left. So, if they don't know that at this point, we either haven't taught it or they haven't learned it, but there's still improvement that is going to be made and needs to be made, even in these last 24 days of the regular season.
Tony, moving forward with the quarterbacks, I mean, it seems like, Greg, you've had a plan each game scripted as far as when he comes in series-wise, but is that kind of how you envisioned it, or is that moving forward still in terms of getting him some work and mixing them both in? How do you see that kind of developing the rest of the year?
How it has been, a specific plan for him and which series he'll start and what situations Greg will come in. Again, came in, gave us a spark Thursday night. It was fun. Somebody mentioned the announcers when he came in the game, said he's a running quarterback, and the first snap throws a post down the field for 30 yards to DeMarcus Ayers. But again, we'll continue to have a specific plan for him, and based on series and situation, which is what we've done up to this point.
The first ranked opponent that you're facing this year, a big game for you guys. What particular concerns do you have most?
Well, I mean, certainly Central Florida is an outstanding football team, and when you put on the video and look at their statistics and look at their depth chart, and then obviously know who's coaching them, there is no glaring weakness. You don't say, well, they're deficient in this area. They're extremely well coached across the board. They've got talent across the board, and again, this is a team that doesn't lose games. You've got to, a team that wins is going to have to find a way to make plays and beat them. They don't beat themselves, is what I'm trying to say. So, again, we're going to continue to prepare this week as we have every week, regardless of opponent, and certainly recognize the talent and the challenge that Central Florida is going to present to us.
You knew what kind of player you had in John at the quarterback position. Has he even surprised you a little bit with what he's been able to do on the field as the progression of his game?
He's, surprise may not be a word that I want to use, although technically I guess I just used it. But I think he's exceeded expectations to this point, if you will. And again, I've referenced this a few times. We had a talented quarterback in Case Keenum, and Case is a true freshman, redshirted. And there's such a learning curve going from high school to college, and you'd like to redshirt every freshman if you can, just to let them get their feet on the ground academically in that transition in school, gain weight, eat, just understand how your whole program works, strength and conditioning. And again, with the injury to David, we had to speed that up with John. And for him to come in and again, I don't know his statistics maybe exactly. I want to say he's thrown maybe around 22 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions, playing the competition we have. And again, as a second-year starting quarterback, again, reminding everyone that as a junior in high school, he was the backup. So I think we felt like he is going to be extremely talented. We felt like he's got the intangibles you look for in the quarterback position in terms of leadership, work ethic, character. But to play at this level so soon, I think the phrase exceeded expectations is the one I would use.
Tony, for me, the last 4 games, the rushing numbers have been out. Is that a combination of what other teams are doing, like a Memphis, and maybe more commitment to the pass, or?
It's been a little bit of a couple of things. We felt like, and again, I feel like, I'll take Rutgers, for example. I feel like we ran the ball okay in that game. I want to say we rushed for 211 yards. But I think John threw 5 touchdown passes. So, we wanted at least one of the matchups we wanted to see was us throwing the ball against their pass defense. I think you look at a couple of the other opponents that we've played that, like a BYU, that are extremely top in the country, toward the top of the country in rush defense. So, again, we have got to be balanced as much as we can. We cannot be one-dimensional. And, feel like, again, with what we do schematically and philosophically on offense, if a team is going to try to stop our run, then we've got to be able to throw the football in the other way around. If they're going to try to stop the pass and outnumber us, if you will, in the passing game, we've got to be able to hand it off and get Ryan Jackson and Kenneth Farrow more involved.
I was wondering, on the rush ends, maybe describe each one in terms of their strengths are. It looks like Island's more of a power guy, but he also is pretty fast off the edge.
Mhm.
Same thing with Trevor. Can you kind of the three guys there?
Yeah, when you talk about our rush ends, Eric Island, Trevor Harris, and Tyus Bowser, again, they've all got very unique stories. You know, Eric and I are the same age. He played minor league baseball with Toronto for 5 years before coming here. And again, you say he's a power guy. Came here as a 205-pound walk-on, if you will, safety, and is now up to about in the high 230s, 237, 238. All three of them, because they are probably more similar than people think. They can all run. They're very athletic. When you look at their backgrounds in terms of Eric being a professional baseball player, Trevor Harris playing 1 year of high school football, and that was at the wide receiver position. He was 6'5", about 200 pounds. Went up to the ASA Junior College in Brooklyn, New York, and gained weight, and they had the vision to move him from receiver to defensive end, and now he's 6'5", 235 pounds, and again runs a 4.5 in the 40. And then Tyus Bowser, who's 6'3", about 230, and is an outstanding basketball player, will play both sports here, and leads our team in sacks right now. So they're all, if you will, when you talk about the similarities, they've got great speed, they've got great explosion, they're very athletic, and they're all new to that position. Again, Eric Island was hitting curveballs, or at least attempting to, 2 years ago. Tyus Bowser being a great basketball player, and Trevor Harris 2 years ago was catching passes at receiver. So they're all learning the position new, and I think Coach Logo's done a fantastic job in just taking three athletic, very intelligent young men and just starting from scratch and teaching them a brand new position, and those three playing at an extremely high level.
Bowser was a late commit, right?
Yeah, Tyus came on a visit here the final weekend right before signing day, and actually called me Tuesday, the day before signing day, to tell me he was going to come to Houston. So he was as late of a commitment as we had in last year's class.
I think he had like 24 sacks.
He did. He had 24 sacks as a senior last year, and again, as a high school teammate of Greg Ward. Anything else? All right, thank you.